What's up, everybody? Back with another Juice is Loose, but this one is basically going to be all about our top 5 games of 2017, plus a few other little in between awards or categories. No, no up to date news talk. We're not going to do anything other than just talk about 2017, our top 5 games, and then some other, like I said, some in between like awards. But the one thing you need to know when listening to the Juice is Loose podcast is you do not need a pinch of salt, a bucket of salt, or a dump truck of salt to listen to our podcast. So you never have to worry about needing taking it with a grain of salt. So
we ain't got time for that shit.
I feel like that was rehearsed, sir. And we rehearsing shit.
No.
So it's like, where the hell did that come from?
I just some videos are just too much salt, too many grains of salt needed to watch some videos.
So the other 90%. Okay.
Yeah, you're not getting any of that here.
This ain't the Wii U days. We got actual games to play, so
wow, you're still getting solid.
We don't need to be worried about what we might have and all this nonsense.
So yeah, like I said, we're not going to discuss any like current affairs. I mean, final thoughts, I guess, if somebody wants to touch on something, but let's just get right into it. We're going to start with the best game on the Switch that wasn't a 2017 game. So best port of an old game on the Switch. There wasn't a ton of them, but there was, I think around 10 games that pretty much qualified. So I'm going to start. We're going to go in order and kind of go back. Start with me, end with Terrell, and then Terrell will give his number 5 or honorable mentions, and we'll come back.
Start and give everybody, or Juice is going to start and answer with everybody's answer.
We all know it's going to be the same thing. On the next path, Terrell will have first dibs.
That's true.
Yeah, come back.
Okay. I got you.
All right. So my basically the best game on the Switch that wasn't a 2017 game, and that is Rocket League. No surprise.
Oh my god!
The game I avoided buying for 2 years on PC and then a year on PS4. Fucking love that game. It's so fun. I don't care losing, winning, scoring no goals, scoring goals. I just have fun. I think it looks really good in dock mode. I know some people don't. Great music, and it's just a fun, awesome multiplayer game. Love playing that. So, T, you're next.
Well, since you just took mine and everybody else is in the podcast, that was my pick too. Rocket League is like, I'm with you. Like it's always a game I've been interested in, but Rocket League is also my pick. But I'm glad I waited because I think it's just more fun when there's people that you know. So.
Yeah, it's a good to have. It's a good online game. It's for the Switch. We have a decent amount of them, but it's just nice to have have a great online game, third-party game on the Switch, which is something we really didn't have on the Wii U. So, Retro, what's your pick?
For me, it's actually not Rocket League because I played it before already and stuff. So I guess that novelty factor for me isn't there.
Yeah.
My pick goes to Skyrim because not only did we get the remastered version, it runs smooth. Like they soften out a lot of the bugs. It works effortlessly in docked and portable, and I like it how they updated it with freaking amiibo support in Skyrim. Like it just has to be my pick. This one.
All right, nice. What about you, Robert?
Mine is Rocket League because damn it,
what a surprise!
I was thinking like, oh maybe I'll do like something else, but I'm like, no, Rocket League was really damn fun, and it will continue to be fun as hell. Because anytime we do a game night, I always say Rocket League, right?
That's all we play.
Because it's just so damn fun, and even if I'm bad or if it happens to be I score 5 goals at one time, I was like, whoa, it's so good. I love it.
All right, and got an hour in LA North. I don't think you could have picked that one.
So. Whose man is this? Somebody get this man.
It's only the beginning, kid.
Jesus Christ.
All right, Terrell, what's your pick?
It's Rocket League. Just move on. It's fine. There's nothing else for me to say. Move on.
All right, so staying with Terrell, we're going to go into honorable mentions. What's your 2 honorable mentions for 2017 games.
Metroid Samus Returns and Super Bomberman R. Fucking
Nice.
It's weird because I sat there and I said, man, Metroid Samus Returns is the first. And granted, I haven't played a lot of Metroid games, so this doesn't really mean as much. But I was surprised how quickly I wanted to go back in and start like a new game plus, just for the fuck of it. And for Metroid, considering how I know how hard those can be, I was surprised I was into the game that much, to the point where I wanted to learn the combat system and get good with everything. It was just a fun ass game. And then Super Bomberman R. A, I'm just fucking baffled that Konami put out a game. B, they supported the game, patched the game repeatedly. And 3, it kept me. The game got better the more I played. I looked at my hours that I had like over 20 hours in the game, 15 or 20 hours, and I'm like, on Bomberman? Really? and then when I was looking through my games, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I gotta give it to Bomberman. So yeah, those are my 2 honorable mentions.
Man, I don't even think I got 2 hours in that game.
I know. That's why why you think I was baffled when I had more than 15?
All right, Robert, you got 2 honorable mentions?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so 1 honorable mention is SteamWorld Dig 2, because that game was really good, but I didn't beat it. So
is that gonna be the thing with Robert?
Close though. I mean, I think it's only about an 8-hour game, and
I know that's why I was pretty close, but I just didn't. And then also, this one might be a shocker. Splatoon 2 as an honorable mention. I have it as an honorable mention. It just sadly I feel like for that game, it came out too soon and it felt too similar to Splatoon 1 for me to get as addicted as I did.
You know what's funny? 1. I was listening to old podcasts trying to find where we made predictions for Switch sales, and I came to one right before Splatoon came out, and Robert's like, I'm just so pumped for Splatoon 2 come. I'm ready for more Splatoon.
And apparently, you know what? It just didn't happen. I thought maybe this would be it again. It would fuel that fire to play another 500 hours or something. But it's like, no, you know what? I played it 500 hours and I'm good. I want a new game.
Man, you just a politician.
Maybe.
All right, let's move on to Retro Death. What's your 2 honorable mentions?
My first honorable mention is a 3D platformer for the Switch. It's called Poi. It's not one of my favorite games this year, but it has to be mentioned because it's so overshadowed by Odyssey that not a lot of people are looking at it. And there's so many great games at this point where if people see this game on the shelves, they're not going to touch it. And it's an amazing platformer. It basically controls exactly like Super Mario 64. You have almost all the exact same moves they put in there. They made it as a platformer. And even compared to Odyssey, there's a lot more platforming in that. So I absolutely love that game. And my second one has to be, without doubt, Wonder Boy, The Dragon's Trap. I think that came out in February this year still. It's like the remake of Wonder Boy on the Mega Drive, I think, or the one before the Master System, I think. Yeah, and they hand drew the whole game, and with the music and the atmosphere, it was an amazing game. And that game would have been probably 6th or 7th on my list if we added more games to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, T, what's your 2?
Yeah, one of these is gonna be sacrilegious to you, Juice, but honorable mention is ARMS and Yooka-Laylee. I just thought I would love ARMS a lot more than I did. I don't dislike it. Like I always sit around and I end up wanting to play it. I just never. It's like so many other things that I would rather play before it. So it's just like it's not that I don't like it. It's just there's too much to play.
Mm-hmm. It's because you get bodied.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
This guy uses the controller, and I play it the way it's supposed to be played.
I think I started having way more fun once I started using the controller. I mean, but
I tried the controller. I don't like it, so I don't mind getting bodied if I'm playing it the way I like to play it. So it's all good. And Yooka-Laylee, I'm like probably halfway through the game, and it's weird for me to say that I feel like I haven't had enough time. I could have easily put this on the numbered list as far as my faves of the year, but it's too new for me right now, so that's why I didn't do it. But yeah, ARMS and Yooka-Laylee.
All right, so my honorable mention, SteamWorld Dig 2. It was almost in my top 5 early in the year. I thought for sure it was going to be it. It was just a great game. I love the art style. Looks good in handheld or on the TV, and the music's good. And it's just really the controls are just tight, solid. And you know, it's just a fun game. It's I 100%ed it and got through it. Like, I don't know if I want to start over. You know, it's one of those types of games. I really enjoyed it, but I don't know if I want to start over. But definitely honorable mention. Definitely in my top, 8 or so. And then the next one, Mario plus Rabbids. We talked all year about how first we were just in shock that we were excited for it, and then shocked that it was a good game once it came out. And again, another game that almost made the top 5, and just fun little strategy game, and a little few too many little frustrating moments, and almost kind of a forgettable game now that I beat. Like, it didn't even have a real ending and anything, so that was kind of a bummer that it didn't really have much of a conclusion. I don't know if that's coming with DLC or sequel, but definitely just an honorable mention. But 2 really great games. So let's get into it. Let's get into the real list here. We start with number 5. My favorite game of 2017 is Legend of Zelda. No, just kidding.
Come on, you know that's gonna happen. This is gonna be.
It's actually Gravity Rush 2 on the PS4.
I knew it.
It's crazy because I played it in January. It's almost been exactly a year since it came out. Amazing art style. Like, I love the characters, the world that they created. Like, I looking back at some of my early videos of the year, and the fact that you could like go from the highest float. There's all like floating structures, floating civilizations. So from the highest one, you could just jump off and fall through the clouds, see the next area, and steer yourself past that and get down into like the lower realm. And it was just all seamless and all like beautiful art style. And it had gyro controls. It's a PlayStation game with good gyro controls. When you're in the air, it all is gyro aiming, and it's just I would recommend it. It's not for everybody, and it has some slower parts, and some of the side missions aren't super compelling, but definitely a great game. And sales wise, it did shitty, so I'm sure we'll never see another one. But if you got a PS4 for $20, I would highly recommend. It's
all those photos I kept seeing in January was rough.
It's on my list.
It's definitely my favorite PlayStation game on the PS4 out of like the
It's
7.
sad because when you posted all those videos, I so badly wanted to play it, and I still haven't. And I'm pretty sure if I had gotten into it, it would have been on my list too.
Yeah, it's just a few little quirky things here holding it back. Some of the combat, the controls get a little bit it's a little frustrating, but definitely recommend. So let's go, Mr. T. Number 5 game of 2017.
My number 5 game of 2017 is Sonic Mania. Whee!
I forgot you even had
that. Sonic Mania, like, I just like it it was a little higher on the list, but the game is just an awesome addition to the Sonic collection, if you will. Like, it harkens back to the originals, but I think that my favorite thing about it is that I feel like I finally have the Sonic game I never got on my Sega Saturn, which and this seems like it would have been a Saturn game, especially when you do the 3D stuff. It just feels like this was meant to be like on the Saturn, and Saturn, obviously, you guys know I highly regard that console. So that's probably just the biggest reason. It's just like I finally feel like I have my Sonic game for Saturn. So and it's solid. It's the best Sonic game I've played in a long time.
Why don't they just take that gameplay exactly like that and maybe just update with a really cool new art style?
Yeah, that's probably the next step I'd like to see. This was kind of safe, which is fine. I understand. But yeah, I'd like to see that happen.
I think Sonic, the 2D Sonic game, they could benefit from one of those like hand-drawn styles, like, for example, Wonder Boy. I think they could really benefit from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what they do next with I'm sure they'll do another one. So, Retro, what's your number 5?
My number 5 game is the one nobody wanted, everybody hated, nobody saw it coming. The only person who did want it was Robert, and that's Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I seriously am so surprised with how much I love this fucking game. It is so beautiful and it is just so much fun. I really like the strategy elements that has like the levels, that really uses the levels, and the fact that once all your moves have been set, you're basically watching a 10-minute cartoon of everybody shooting the shit out of each other. It's just so much fun to play. It has to be on my list.
All right, Robert, you're next.
All right, my number 5 is a game that definitely no one has played here, and that is Super Hot VR. Hells yes. I know people are like, VR sounds big though. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you guys, this is one of the most fun gaming experiences you'll have. It's so different. Like literally, okay, so you got the whole room around you, and you're like, God, I was smiling with excitement, and I would play this for hours and get sweaty as fuck. And then it was just so fantastic. Like, and it's a whole campaign, all that kind of stuff. It's got different modes, and it's like a shooting game, but every time you move is when the enemies move, and it's so cool. And just I'm on the floor shooting up. It's incredible, and that is definitely like the best VR game I've played, for sure.
What was the name of it?
Super Hot VR. And every time
hot or hot?
Hot, like super hot.
Like fire.
Hot.
Yeah,
Like
and
fire.
it's funny when anytime I tell someone to play VR, I show them that, and I show them that as their first game, and it's so funny to see their reactions all the time when they're like, "Holy shit!" I love that, and that is the greatest reaction you could ever get when people are like just swinging their arms. However, multiple times people have hit my amiibo collection. It's annoyed the fuck out of me to redo it. So that's one downside, but the biggest upside is that it's just so damn fun, and I love that game. And if you do one day get a VR system, people, I definitely recommend that game for sure. Super Hot VR.
All right, let's go to Terrell. What's your number 5 VR game?
I didn't know I had a VR system. Thanks, Juice, for buying me a VR system. I didn't know I had it. Anyways, this one probably is gonna seem sacrilegious to other Nintendo fans, but it means a lot considering it's me specifically who has it here. I'm going. It's Mr. Super Mario Odyssey is number 5 for me.
Okay.
Whoa!
Like I said, that's sacrilegious.
I'm just glad it's on your list. Let's just say that.
Really? Okay. Anyways, it's weird because 3D World, I think, was the first. Was it the first one I completed? Or yeah, it was the first one I fully completed versus the other ones where I just kind of played part of it and then kind of was done with it. I am surprised how much I enjoyed this game, and even though I didn't get to play, I only played it until I beat the main story and a little bit after that because I think Fire Emblem was out in the same like week. I'm surprised how much I want to go back to it. I think recently, after I beat Xenoblade, I was just kind of like, well, fuck, I kind of want to put Mario back in. And it's primarily the movement system. God, I love the way he moves in this game. And it's that whole simple movement that you only really need to get through the game. But then all these extra special techniques you can do to just cheat and just glitch out the level design. Well, it feels like you're glitching it out.
Like jump rope.
Yeah. Oh, no. But it's the kind of shit where you're like, oh man, I did all this crazy shit. And you see the developers and they're like, here's some points for you. And you're like, so you expected me to know how to do this at some point in the game. And I love that attention to detail. Y'all knowing it, this podcast, this game will show up multiple times, so I'm not gonna go too much further into it. Just it's a great game. I like it a lot.
What game you talking about?
It's that Mario. It's Mario.
Mario.
All right. Before we go the reverse order, because if we do it the way I said, then it would always be going first with the numbered game. So now we're going to go into one of the subcategories, and I'm going to start, and we'll come back to Terrell and then get your number 4.
Okay.
Best surprise of 2017. And I only had one really stood out. It was easy for me. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 announced in the January Direct. I was shocked that it was far enough along to see it. And then it was listed as a 2017 game. and then it comes out in 2017. To me, that was just the best surprise and the biggest surprise. So, Ms. T, what was your best surprise of 2017?
We could pick a game for this, right?
A game, it can be a game, it can be
'cause-
anything.
Well, my best surprise was Mario plus Rabbids because I was just like, no. when I heard about this game, I couldn't stand the Rabbids, and them
Shame.
putting Mario.
Best surprise that it was good, as you mean?
Yeah, like it was. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I didn't really iterate that, but yeah, that it was good and I enjoyed it as much as I did. It's not in my list because I think it was more important for me to put it as a surprise. Like it could have easily made my like top 5, but I just thought it would make more sense to put it as my best surprise because I was super surprised at how much I liked this game or liked it and enjoyed it. So
right.
I like playing, going back and just playing, little battles here and there too still. So just fun.
All right, Retro, what's your best surprise?
My best surprise of 2017 was Bethesda's support for the Switch. The fact that we got Skyrim before Skyrim launched, Doom was announced that launched like a month or 2 later, and they announced Wolfenstein. The fact in this day where everybody's making videos where people are like, these companies aren't coming because they're seeing how this game did and how this might do it. But Bethesda was like, fuck it. Everything is on there. There you go. And that still makes me feel happy, the fact that they did all that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, I know you love Bethesda as well, so it's even better for you. All right, Robert, what was your best surprise?
My best surprise was Mario and Rabbids, right? Because obviously, more the idea of Mario and Rabbids. Because
you don't really like the game.
I got halfway through it and I got stuck, and I went back to play, and I'm like, wait, what am I doing again? And I kind of forgot what I was doing. But you gotta understand that the fact that Mario and Rabbids, and I think the reception of Rabbids is becoming better, and I love the idea of Rabbids being more accepted in society, and they don't have to hide and shit. And so it's like,
what the fuck?
You know what I mean? I love that, and I hope we get a Rabbids Go Home too.
All right, I gotta change my answer. Someone in the chat, best surprise of 2017, Mario's nipples.
10 out of 10, best game,
Nice.
best game.
Nice.
That was a stitched sketch. Thanks for that. That was good. Terrell, best surprise.
Mine's you could argue it's a cop out in a way. Honestly, I'm just surprised at the amount of support the Switch has gotten this year. That was my best surprise, which is that when I got to the end of this year and I looked back, I said, damn, I'm surprised how many games showed up, what developers they showed up from. And even though we've had some snags and some fuckery, I'm surprised that, oh, look, NBA 2K18 got supported. We got a fucking remaster of LA Noire. There's Doom. There's Skyrim. And I guess you could just say I'm surprised at the third party support. It's not like it's more. It's just the quality seems to be better.
It's quality.
So I couldn't pick one thing. To me, it was just that this year, 2017 was just a surprise to me, period, for Switch and its support it got from third parties.
Yeah. I would say, there's probably some less diehard Nintendo fans are less, knowledgeable about what's going on. Maybe the sales of the Switch would be a surprise to some people, but I know we were all like 7, 8, 10, 12 million range. I'm trying to find where we made our prediction. I just cannot find it.
I remember my prediction. I said it would beat the Wii U by the end of December.
We don't have I don't know if we have the official numbers yet.
I'm pretty sure it hasn't.
I think it didn't by like 1 million or something, 1 or 2 million maybe. No,
when did they announce it?
I think it beat it in Japan, but I think it's
surpassed it in Japan.
Yeah.
So let's go with your number 4 then, Terrell. What's your number 4 game of 2017?
This one might be surprising, and it's also going to come off as blasphemous that this is above Mario. Actually, everything on this list after this is going to become
Sonic Forces.
No. There is no PlayStation. There is no PlayStation 4 game on this list. So,
well, it's a Switch game too. So,
well, no. Listen, I bought it on PS4. I'm counting it as a PS4 game.
All right.
Anyways, it's Fire Emblem Warriors, and this one's a little weird because I went through a fucking roller coaster with this game initially. It was revealed. I was excited. I heard about what games they were pulling from. I was kind of like, eh. I saw the roster. I was like, oh. and then the fuckery with the DLC, and then I got my hands on the game, and it's literally the only game this year I am definitely buying DLC for. I think it's the only game this year I will buy DLC for. And it's weird because the game itself is just addictive as fuck. It's my love of Fire Emblem. It's my love of the fact that I have to constantly strategize and pick where my armies go. And the game is challenging. It's so much to do in the fucking game. And even though it does have its fuckery with this DLC, having characters from there are NPCs that are in the game and just turning them into playable characters and charging me for it, I don't care. I don't fucking care. This is definitely better than Hyrule Warriors for me, because Hyrule Warriors was I beat the game and I put that bitch down. I had no interest in doing nothing else. This game, shit. I'll be picking this back up. I mean, I'll be playing more of this up until I think March, because the DLC keeps going to March. And knowing my crazy ass, I'll be playing it all 2018 because I have a fucking problem. So yeah, Burn Warriors.
So, just real quick, again, this might be my biggest surprise of 2018 on next year's podcast, is that Terrell's best of 2017 wasn't Nintendo and the thickness. The year of thickness. Like, seriously. That had to have been near your top of your list of best surprises for the year's Nintendo, going what seemed like almost every game.
Everyone's thick in the game.
Hey, listen, I think
with all that chocolate rain,
that should have been a bigger surprise. That should be a bigger surprise for Robert than me, because Robert was the one talking about Lollipop has a fat ass. It's not the
He's got literally the thickest body in the universe.
Fuck out.
All right, moving on. Robert, what's your number 4 game?
My number 4 game is Resident Evil 7.
Oh, real game, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a VR game too.
I know, that's why I said kind of.
I've never played the other Resident Evils. I'm not a Resident Evil fan like that. But if they continue in the vein of this, I will become a Resident Evil fan, because I really do enjoy Resident Evil 7. I remember every time I get home from school, I play a little bit of it, and then I get kind of creeped out and I'd stop playing. And then it's a really damn good game, and I really enjoyed it, and I think people should check it out. If you haven't, maybe it'll get ported to the Switch one day. There's always that big rumors and stuff, but I really think you should check it out. And it was
trash.
Good. What? Get out of
here. To one of our categories, and that game might come up again.
This ain't your grandpa's Resident Evil. That's for sure.
No, it's not. It's not, and I didn't want it to be that, because I probably wouldn't have played it. That's why I like this.
Fatal Frame 5 to me was the best Resident Evil style, like old school Resident Evil style game, in the last fucking 10 years probably.
Yes.
But anyway, Retro, number 4 game of 2017.
My number 4, as a Nintendo fan, this is going to be blasphemous, probably more than from what Terrell did. My number 4 game is Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh my God.
I've said this over and over. A lot of people like to bring up the fact that Odyssey brings this ultimate feeling back from when they went from Super Mario World to 64. And I'm like, what the fuck? Did you experience that shift? No way that this game did that for me. On top of that, like I've said before, there's too much fluff. There's so much running and looking behind walls. There's not enough platforming, I feel. I think this game killed one of my wishes. That was, I wanted to see an open world Mario game, and after playing this, I'm like, fuck no, that's the stupidest idea I ever had. It just can't happen.
Wow.
It was beautiful. It was amazing. It was so much fun. It's still on this list for a reason, but no fucking way.
I'm trying to figure out why is it on the list.
Well,
All I heard is bad things.
What's some of the
I think this is more blasphemous just for what he said, not even the placement of it.
Give us some positives though.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was extremely beautiful, and that's why it's on the list. I had so much fun with it. It is still a lot of fun, but I can't see myself replaying this, and I'm counting that because I loved all these levels and discovering all these locations. But that was the main thing about Mario, I feel, the first time adventure of exploring all these new areas. But I can't see myself for fun grabbing those moons again somehow. If I would play this game again, I would just play it to get through it.
Hey, I mean, that's fair enough. So let's go to T. What's your number 4 game of the year?
My number 4 It was a beautiful pick because it sounds like 4, and that's Sonic Force. No,
You ain't shit.
my number 4 is maybe blasphemous, but I haven't had as much time as everybody else. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Beautiful game. I mean, I don't need to really say much about it. I am only 22 hours or so in, so I haven't really gotten. It's pretty much the same thing that happened with Xenoblade Chronicles X with me. Like I got it and I played it. You know, maybe I played the first 15 hours or so, and then I put it down because I was playing something else. And January was when I really got into Chronicles X. So that's about to happen with the Chronicles 2. So
right.
yeah, it's my number 4.
All right, my number 4, and this my 4, 3, and 2 kind of were flip flopping with me, and I finally settled in, and it's Legend of Zelda. No, just kidding. I'm gonna do that every time. No, it's
You're gonna take away the joke eventually.
This is not getting old at all.
it's actually ARMS.
Hey,
I wanted it to be higher, but I'm gonna go through the things I like about it real quick. The character designs, I love the variety of characters, the visual style. I think it's the best looking Switch game. Like just cleanest. It's the most technically good looking game, plus with the art style and just it pops. It looks like, to me, it looks like the only game truly built from the ground up for the Switch. The music is just phenomenal. Gameplay is fun. In the best lobby system I've ever experienced with a online game. I mean, that's without having voice chat and messaging and all that. It's just great game. The only downside is they put Splatoon 2 out a month later, and the community just kind of fell right off. If it wasn't for Terrell and Twilight and sometimes Clocked It and T jumped in and Robert every once in a while. I'm talking after the first month. Really, it was just Twilight and Terrell and I got almost 65 hours in that game, and I enjoyed every second of it. So I really liked, and the additions, the new characters, everything. Just wish more people would have played it and kept playing it. But it was really Nintendo's fault for releasing too many damn good games this year that I think ARMS suffered. So that's really the only negative is it's just too reliant on, everybody being able to play it. Because with friends is just, that's where it's at with that game. So, all right, we're going to go back to Terrell for biggest disappointment related to video games. And this isn't disappointing game itself, but just something that happened related to video games. If you don't have one, feel free to skip it, anyone. But Terrell, what's your biggest disappointment related to video games in 2017?
It's weird because it wasn't going to be a disappointment until we got like halfway through the year, and then it's Capcom. I think that's the best way to describe it. I can't describe, and it's Capcom because of how inconsistent they've been this year. To the point where, like, at the beginning of the year, I'm kind of like, eh. Then we get halfway, we start hearing the fuckery with Monster Hunter, and we might put certain games on the Switch. Oh, we got a game in development. Oh, it's Resident Evil 1 and 2. Oh, Revelations 1 and 2. And then you fucking do good with the slew, the disgusting amount of shit regarding Mega Man, a franchise a lot of people thought was dead. All right, there's a lot of good faith. And I was just kind of like, I don't know how I feel. I mean, even the Street Fighter collection, you gave me fucking the Street Fighter 2 new challenges bullshit with the weak ass Ado mode, and then here comes that Street Fighter collection, and I'm just like, I don't know how I feel. And then I see Marvel's Capcom Infinite, and I'm like, y'all, it's frustrating. This has been the most frustrating time for me with Capcom, because you do shit I like, but you can't do it consistently. And then, look at that. Here's that Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition. I'm like, come the fuck on. just give me like a good string of good shit, like a good 6 months, because that's all I'm apparently going to get. And then, so yeah, that was my biggest frustration, because I went from not giving a fuck to giving a fuck to getting angry that I gave a fuck. So yeah, that's mine.
All right, Robert, you got one?
So mine is the whole Battlefront 2 situation, because I was actually gonna pick up that game, and I actually technically
play it.
I technically, God damn it. technically, I actually did pick up the game, but then I returned it the next day. Remember? And so the whole thing is like, it's a shame because, it looked like it could be good. Maybe it is a good game. I don't know, but it's like with the whole loot boxes bullshit and stuff, and the whole lock behind, with the whole Darth Vader, it's bullshit. It's like, it sucks because they're not going to stop doing that. Probably, hopefully they will. I don't know.
Don't forget the touted single player experience was just,
and the whole big single player. Then what is it, like 4 hours? It's like, come on, man. It's ridiculous that what could have been amazing, and sounds like they were really changing up. They just didn't. they changed up in a different way that actually was probably a worse way, and that just sucks. And so, what are you gonna do? And so, hopefully, Battlefront 3 or the Star Wars license could just go to someone else. That would be even better.
That would be.
We'll see that.
All right, Retro. What's your biggest disappointment related to gaming?
My biggest disappointment relating to gaming, it brought up such a fucking shitstorm this year, and that was E3. Like, the Switch had such a massive success. You showed Pokemon, you have Metroid, you Kirby, Yoshi, and I looked at that and I was like, okay, but nothing has changed. Where's my third-party support? And everyone's like, yeah, there's third-party support this. I'm going to get announcements later. And I'm like, yeah, fine. You can have announcements later. But there was nothing at E3. And all of this spurred this fucking debate with OJ and all this bullshit. And it's just such a black flag on this year. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, now it seems kind of silly because of all the games that got announced afterwards for Nintendo. But I agreed with you back when you were debating stuff about that. Like, that was kind of a disappointing aspect. So
people took it like as if I had said that no third party was going to come. That's never what I said. I said there's nothing on E3. Even FIFA didn't have the Switch logo. That was absolute bullshit.
Mm-hmm. All right, T, what's yours?
Well, following up on Robert and what Retro just said, I'm gonna wrap it all up in a big EA bun. Like, EA has just been immensely disappointing for me this year because, like Robert, I was excited for Battlefront 2 when I heard they're gonna actually put in what they should have put in the first place, which is a story mode. I still like playing the original Battlefront. I still play it on my Xbox, so I was waiting for that, and then it just a steamroll of shit downhill after that announcement. And just like, obviously the loot boxes with that, but I'm going to go back earlier in the year. Like, I'm a fan of Mass Effect, and what they did to Mass Effect Andromeda was just atrocious. I mean, that game was just immensely disappointing. Like, I love Mass Effect 1 and 2, most of 3, and Andromeda was just like, what? They just destroy everything they touch, these guys. And obviously they had a chance to get goodwill with me with FIFA, and I was thinking maybe they'd throw a Madden out there. That didn't happen, and FIFA was just disappointing to me. And they've just been disappointing. Like me and EA haven't been friends in a long time, but they had a chance this year to win me back, and they just said, fuck you. Mm-hmm. So EA, most disappointing gaming.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of forgot about Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, just forgot about it.
Apparently, it's patched and it's a lot better now. But the fact that the way they released
the way they put it out,
it was rushed. It was definitely rushed. So
yeah.
So my biggest disappointment relating to video games is a game that I think Terrell's the only one that's mentioned so far, and that's the sales of Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS. I know the 3DS is on the last legs. I know the Switch is where it's at. But as the end of November, according to VG charts, the thing worldwide is only at 370,000. So
seriously?
Yeah, that to me that's just a shame. All these Metroid fans, after Federation Force saying just give us a 2D, do this, do that, and they do it. They surprise us. It was one of the best surprises at E3. Well, it happened right after there. It was during the Treehouse, and a great game, and then no one buys it, and it's like I'm worried now for the
Prime
future
4.
of the series, man. I'm a little concerned, and
they'll say, well, I'll say it to a degree, like, oh, well, why isn't it on the Switch? Well, you know what? There's 70 million 3DSs out there, so I don't want to hear that excuse. If you're a fan, you should have bought it.
in retrospect, I could almost guarantee it would have sold better on the Switch.
Yeah, it would have sold better, but it's
But
just like
they
Man.
couldn't. I mean, they couldn't. They'd already had it in development. So,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that was just the biggest disappointment. All the other stuff you guys said, definitely big disappointments too. But that one,
I think personally, I would have liked it better on the 3DS because I'm a huge guy who I love the 3D, and it is one of the best 3D on the
was
system.
amazing on that game.
yeah, and like Unforgiven said, the 3DS definitely uncomfortable for someone like me, like in long play sessions.
Mhm.
Whereas be able to dock it, play on my Pro Controller would definitely benefit. But
None of that matters. None of that.
Mhm.
If you are a fan,
it's
crying,
still a good game.
exactly. That you play through that stuff. If you're a fan of the series of, we've been hearing people crying for years, and you support it.
Especially after that shitstorm of Federation Force.
Exactly.
Yeah, the 3D is one of the best. The music's great. It looks good. It feels like a 60 frames per second game, even though people say it's 30. It plays fast, and the circle pad does kind of affect some of your aiming and causes some deaths. But anyway, let's get on to number 3, favorite game of 2017. And this one was really hard. If you guys remember, like 3 and 2, it was just like 2015 for me. If you guys remember, my number 1 and my number 2 was a Xenoblade game and a Mario game, Super Mario Maker and Xenoblade Chronicles X. They were so close. I went with nostalgia, and I regretted it later, making Super Mario Maker my game of the year for 2015. So this year I got the same kind of scenario, both great games, and I'm so torn. But number 3 game of the year, Super Mario Odyssey.
I knew it.
Oh Lord!
Oh,
shit.
I'm gonna go over what I love about the game first, and best controls ever in a game, a 3D game for sure. I mean, first person is completely different, but for me, one of the best controls in a game. Period. The moveset, Mario's best moveset he ever had. It's just a joy making Mario move and run and jump. I think the visuals look fantastic. I went back to it, and they actually got better. And getting to, well, let me finish up. The music's great. Amazing cutscenes. Like, no one really talks about that, but everyone was like, well, Mario needs a better story, needs more story. This game had some awesome cutscenes. Like I did not even expect that, and no one talks about it. But
I'm surprised you're the one who mentioned it and not me. That's what I'm more
for a Mario
baffled by.
game, usually you don't get any. You get like in-game quick little thing, and then like this had some major, like, well directed, like animated, like action cutscenes. So and then the like almost no loading times is just like, there's just so many amazing, like Nintendo just finds a way to not have loading times. But the one thing, first I'll say the one thing that held it back from number 2, and then I'll say why going back it almost made it to number 2, is the last 20% of the moons, maybe 25%. Now you can say, well, you don't need 999 moons. Well, if you want to play the last level, you do, and I wanted to play and beat the last level. So like my memories when I was first thinking of this list was having to 45 minutes of playing the same little secret room to collect coins so I could buy 100 moons, the last 100 or 80, whatever I needed at that point, after I'd gotten everything else. And then like even the ones before that, like there's a bunch of picture art moons on the dark side of the moon, or darker side, I forget which one. And they're just so vague and frustrating. Like I was just, that was my memory of the game. That was the lasting thing. The thing I remembered was focusing on. So what I'll say to you, Retro, because I was where you were at, it was almost like number 4 on my list. I went back and started it over earlier in this week, and now I probably got, I'd say close to 100 moons again. It's been nothing but pure bliss, those 100 moons I got. Even the ones that are just sitting there out in the open, like I just had forgotten how great it was just to get into a kingdom for the first time, run around, jump with these perfect controls, and get into the music. And I'm taking screenshots, I'm capturing video. Like, it's just a great game, but it just sucks that they made that decision to like, let's push the moon total and have you do all this BS to get to 999. If they would have just cut down all that, left it at the 800 or whatever it was, then this might have been my number 2 game of the year. So I would recommend if you're feeling like I would. I went back to it and it actually won me over again. So I almost bumped it up to 2. It was so close, but I didn't let nostalgia of my fandom of Mario and Nintendo get in my way. I really did try to judge the games on just the games themselves. So that's my number 3. So let's go to Ms. T.
My number 3 is my phone is locked and it won't get me to my list. Okay.
That's a hell of a number 3, man.
I should have remembered this one anyway, because my number 3 is "You're a Kid Again, You're a Squid Again, Splatoon 2, bitches." I don't want to hear any of this nonsense. Don't listen to any of this nonsense. These guys are acting all saucy about Splatoon 2. Play that no attention. I didn't play Splatoon 1 500 hours or anything. I think I'm probably 150, close to 2, somewhere around there. But Splatoon 2, I mean, yeah, it's more Splatoon, but man, it adds a lot. Like Salmon Run alone is greatness. Like we had so much fun at Salmon Run, and these dudes act like they forgot all about Salmon Run.
It was great, but we only did it like once.
It's not there when I want it to be all the time. Shut up! It's greatness when you play it. I don't know.
Except for when we played it the second time, and 2 of the 4 weapons were just absolute shit, and then it wasn't as fun.
But no, the thing is, you got to
that's another mode we haven't even
to
played yet.
Yeah, there's other modes. Like this game is still being supported, by the way. It's the Salmon Run thing is like it makes you play outside your comfort zone, which is I didn't like at first, but I was like, yeah, I got to get used to playing with these other weapons. That's just
when you can.
So, yeah, well, I said that already. Stop crying about that. It's not. It is still a great mode, regardless. But that is my number 2. I
3.
love Splatoon 2. Or number 3, I love Splatoon 2. I'm saying Splatoon 2. And I played it some today. It's just Super Brothers tried to, do his thing on me today, but I murked him. But it's all good. Super Bros.
Wow. Savage.
All right, Retro, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a game that I think, besides maybe T, nobody has played in the chat. I don't think so either. And it is such a shame. It is still going to come to Switch this year, but it is not there yet. And that's Hollow Knight. This game is absolute fucking perfection. This top 3 for me was really easy, and Hollow Knight has to be in there. Hollow Knight is like a Metroidvania style game. It's like this action adventure game that has RPG elements. You have equipment, you have this kind of shit, and it looks exactly as if Tim Burton and Walt Disney made a cartoon together. And it plays like that. It's animated like that. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is super dark and atmospheric. It has amazing music, and every fucking buddy has to go watch a trailer after this, and you will all buy it.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the Switch version.
You triggered me with Disney. Me and Disney ain't friends right now. So.
Old school Disney, because my fiance said the exact same thing when I said it in my own video. No, it's old school Disney, like what they used to do.
Yeah, I haven't played it actually. I don't like games where your character is so tiny on the screen.
No, that's not one. He's not tiny. That's not the one where he's tiny.
You talking about Hollow Knight, right?
Yeah, he's like a big, normal-sized character.
Really?
Yeah, you're thinking that one with that little micro guy, aren't you?
Just think about something else then. Never mind. Carry on.
Move on, I said.
Well, he's not tiny. He seems small to me. I don't know.
No, he got a tiny head, man.
He has like the little like
look at the top of his head, y'all.
Like a bone. He has like horns or whatever, right? That's yeah. Like the only game that I've been able to like get over that with is like Blaster Master Zero, because I grew up with that.
I guess he's not huge, but he's not that small.
I don't know.
But anyway,
play it and you'll experience.
Yeah,
it
I'm talking from just watching it, so I haven't played it.
So, Robert, what's your number 3 game of 2017?
Is this my first non-VR game coming? Is that
Resident Evil. Oh, I guess Resident Evil said Texas VR, but I didn't play it in VR. Anyway, number 3 is ARMS. Really. Yes. You guys act like I didn't play it. I played like 40 hours or some shit like that. Like, it's really damn good. It is really, and obviously now it's slowed down because it's not in our game night rotation as much anymore. But
We
like
have a rotation. I thought we played with Rocket League. Jesus Christ.
but that's the thing. We play one and we stick
The
to it.
rotation just started started sliding, man. It was like one game now.
But it's a fantastic game, because especially like it also holds a little spot in my heart as also the tournament thing. And it was so damn cool. And so, it's
I thought that's why you didn't like it, because you got murked at the
I got third place.
I'm just messing with you.
But it's incredibly fun, and it's very different. Obviously, we all know that. And Min Min is an awesome character, and I love her. But like all the character designs are fantastic. It definitely is probably the best looking Switch game, to be honest. Probably is, the more I think about it, and it's great, especially for game nights. It's very great.
All right, Terrell, I'm very curious what your number 3 is, because that's going to tell me the rest of your list.
Really?
Mhm.
Some people might be surprised because they would have expected this game to be higher. So that's kind of a hint in itself. It's Sonic Mania.
No, really? I thought that was your number 1. So
No, I'm not. Listen.
Wow.
I'm not blinded by nostalgia. Fucking love the game. I absolutely love the fucking game. It's a great game. But the one reason why I couldn't justify putting it at number 1 because of how much rehash is in the game.
Mhm.
It's new. There is new in the game, but a lot of it's old levels. And although some of them are remixed, it's still like the same general aesthetics and level design for the most part. But god damn it, I could not put it on the list. It's still gonna be on the fucking list. I love Christian Whitehead, Head Cannon, Hyper Potions, everything about that game, everything ever since its fucking first trailer at that shitty ass Sonic event, all the way up until that damn final goddamn animated cutscene with Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails.
That was greatness.
That shit hurt. That touches me in my heart because to me, Sonic is like one of my favorite. Sonic, I would argue, is at least top 3, if not my favorite gaming franchise. Probably top 3 because Pokemon gives a run for its money. And to have this game come out and be as good as it is, and me have pretty much no real problems with the game in itself, other than the fact that it's not enough new. And I love Sonic Generations too. Man, I think that was one of the few times. I think that was one of the closest times I got to almost crying at a video game, just because of the amount of love and attention to detail they put in that. And done. I love that game.
all right, so we're gonna come back to me. We're gonna go down for best soundtrack / music in a game. So I mean, you can specify if it's just the soundtrack or the overall music. But for me, it's ARMS all the way. Like the catchiest, just stuck with me the most out of any. And it's not just one song, there's just so many, like when you're just playing the what do you call it, the Grand Prix, and just in between matches there's just cool music playing. When you're in a lobby, there's a remix of the main theme. Like it's just great music, fits the game perfect. So that's my my pick for best music in a game. Ms. T, what's yours?
My best soundtrack is gonna surprise a lot of you fools because you probably ain't even heard of this game, but it's almost kind of like an honorable mention too, because I want people to know about it, and that is Morphight. I love the music in Morphight. It's so like 80s, like cyberpunkish. And Morphight is like an indie game. I don't know if you guys know about it. It's on the eShop. It was on iOS and Android. It probably still is, but it's a first-person like action, like space salvage game. The game that basically No Man's Sky should have been. But it's just it's great. So yeah, Morphight.
All right. I think I might have looked that game up back. I don't know when was it announced for it's on the Switch? It's out for the Switch?
It's on the Switch. It's been on, I think it came out in like August or something, right?
Okay. Let's see. Retro Death, what's your choice for best soundtrack or music in a game?
I just want to give a quick honorable mention. It's not my pick, to Breath of the Wild, because everybody says it has no music, and I fucking hate that, because the only people who say that are people who didn't play it. Breath of the Wild had great music, but my pick for best soundtrack is definitely Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The field theme, the battle theme, the night themes, the town theme, the ancient vessel in the beginning of the game. That's like one of the greatest songs ever. I always feel that the GameCube has a trifecta of perfect RPG game soundtracks. That's Skies of Arcadia, Tales of Symphonia, and Baten Kaitos. And this game fits in that list with those games. It is so fucking beautiful, the soundtrack to Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah, and I do want to mention my second choice would have been Breath of the Wild, for all the little subtle music, plus like when you're in the Hyrule Castle, or when when you're watching a Guardian, or not a Guardian, but the what can I think of the name of the Divine Beasts, like climb to perch, like this greatness. So Robert, what's your pick?
Mine is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I love that soundtrack. I think it sounds so good. I even have it on my phone, and anytime I put on shuffle and it goes on, it sounds greatness. Especially that trailer music that we all love.
So
I mean, like, that is literally, one of the best music ever composed ever. It just sounds so fantastic, and I love that. And I don't ride a horse a lot, and so when people like to ride horses, they you hear a lot more music on there. But anytime you hit a town, you got a lot of great music. And I think especially the Guardian battles, anything like that, sounds so good, and I love the soundtrack for Breath of the Wild.
All right, surprising pick. I'm glad you picked it though. I think I'm gonna guess Terrell's. I'm gonna guess it's Sonic Mania. Go ahead.
You're wrong.
Oh.
I would say, actually, I want to give an honorable mention because this game isn't going to get much love outside of T. Fucking Splatoon 2 has a great fucking soundtrack, and I'm so mad because this is probably one of the harder ones for me, just because I was thinking it was between this and Sonic Mania. I realized I liked a lot of the tracks in Mario Odyssey. Fire Emblem Warriors had good music for me, but ironically enough, my answer's already been said. Because I agree with Retro Death, Xenoblade 2. Oh my god, I love that music so much. It's a combination of the battle music, just the area themes like Uriah's theme and Gormat's theme. And I could not. It tripped me out how much of it still stuck in my head after I put the game down. Like I've been playing other games and I'm still thinking of the soundtracks and I know what areas they connect to. That doesn't happen for me a lot. I mean, I think Sonic games are like the ones that happens to me the most. And that is it's a great ass soundtrack, man. If it wasn't so atmospheric, that'd be like gym music for me. Some of that music is just like can rock me to sleep, man.
That's weird because most of the music I wouldn't be able to tell you what region. I don't even really I'm not feeling the music like I was in X. Like when I went back and played X and got to like Caldros, and I was like replayed it recently just to kind of gauge how it played against Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And I was like, man, I really miss this. But maybe someday 2 will hit that point with me. But 110 hours in, I just can't even really tell you any of the music. So, but I'm not saying it's bad. It didn't stand out for me.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get your number 2. I think I know the answer, but number 2 game of the year for Terrell.
Do you want to guess it?
No.
No. Okay. It's fucking ARMS, man.
What?
It's ARMS.
Oh, I didn't think
man, this is, I think the last time I got this deeply invested into a fighting game was probably Smash. Smash has been the last game I've done that with. I like the mechanics of the game. I've gotten to the point where I'll look up tournaments for the game. I love the character designs. I kind of wish there was more lore, but I was surprised that I picked, and ironically enough, this is the game that came out on my birthday. This game came out June 16th of last year on my birthday, and of course it ends up being one of my favorite games of 2017. Juice has already kind of said a lot about it, and so does Robert. But it's one of those games I really hate that it doesn't have more love, because I really did think it deserves it. I think it's so creative. It looks fucking gorgeous. It trips me out that a lot of the songs are still that whole and just the remixes for certain stages. I love this game to death. This is one of those games I will still play now with over 60 hours into the game, and it's a fighting game. It's a fucking fighting game. Fighting games don't maintain that level of replayability unless you really love the game or you're playing for tournament or some shit. Arms is the kind of game I would go look up lore. I would love more lore for. Like it just tripped. I want more of the game. I've never been in that position, at least not with a lot of fighting games, especially because fighting games have a lot of DLC in them. It's a game I always want more from if I could get it. So yeah.
And I didn't point out that Arms was my number 4, and it's a fighting game, and I'm not even big into fighting games, so that was the surprising part.
Yeah.
Arms.
All right, Robert.
Man, look at that salt. That 2% salt we got in our podcast.
Okay,
ahead,
well, my number 2. God,
Arms.
I can't. Like, I genuinely like. I can't believe that I'm even going to say this as a number 2 for me. Is Super Mario Odyssey, and that shit. I mean, the fact that a 3D Mario is number 2 shows how amazing. Shows how amazing Nintendo did.
While you take a number 2, so that's even better.
That's true. That's true.
It was some toilet comedy. We're
Toilet humor.
Yeah.
But I mean, that game just is so damn amazing. It's like I can never like it blows your mind like how they're able to basically have this franchise still feel fresh today. And this I can't, there's no words for it. It's just because it's so amazing. Like every single world is vastly different from one another, and it just advances. It's like, holy crap, you think you've seen it all, and then you see more, and you're like, holy crap, and you see more, holy crap, and it's so fantastic. I love Super Mario Odyssey, and it's, again, a 3D Mario isn't my number 1, is genuinely amazing. It shows how fantastic Nintendo did this year for me.
All right, Retro Death, what's your number 2?
My number 2, and this even surprised myself because of all the fucking shitfest the previous game did. My number 2 is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It corrected everything I hated about X, like the emptiness of the world, the stupid fucking battle system, and the music, and everything is just better. And way beyond that, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, there's 2 games I always say they're extremely fun and addictive, but grinding is fun. And I just turned the game on to do battles, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 actually became that for me. But I love fighting. I love it how it reminds me sometimes of Baten Kaitos, where because you keep having to think and calculate, like the Xenoblade Chronicles X, when you have the battle and I'm literally just fucking waiting for these fucking things to fill up, and then I hit the button. But in this one, like, you have your attacks and then you combine them and you get a combo, and you have to calculate with elements, making sure you have the greatest combo, and the characters you use and the arms the blades you equip to these people. This game is so beautiful, and then like all across the board, the graphics and the soundtrack and just the story and the emotions I'm getting from it, like, it has to be number 2. It's perfect, and it's actually probably one of my favorite RPGs in the top 10 list for sure.
I wasn't sure Xenoblade was going to make your list after your message earlier about some of the side quests.
That's the only flaw I feel the game has, where you get a side quest and then you do the side quest and you get another side quest and you get another side quest, and at one point it's not even related to your original side quest anymore, and it just makes me not want to do side quests, and I hate it that the game has that to that extent.
Yeah, there are some definitely tedious ones. There's some that aren't so bad, but all right, Ms. T, you already gave away your number 1 in one of your videos, so why don't you go ahead and
drop this deuce.
Yeah, drop your deuce right now.
If you know what number 1 is, you know what number 2 is, and that is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
At least it made your list.
Unlike some of these fools' lists. What can I say about Breath of the Wild? It changed the game as far as Zeldas go, and brought us back to the original. It expanded on what we already had, added some RPG elements. The combat system is greatness. I love it to death. It's my favorite combat in any Zelda game, easily. But there was one that trumped it, if you will, and there's pretty good reason why. Because I went back and forth on my 1 and 2 like for months. So, but yeah, number 2 is Breath of the Wild.
All right. My number 2 is Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and you know, a lot of people talk about performance, the graphics, and blah blah blah. Like art direction, fantastic. I think the visuals docked most of the time look great. I love the character designs way more than Xenoblade Chronicles X. The additions to, like Retro said, you know, switching out rare blades and stuff, you know, and building that combo system. To me, though, like the combat, even though you have all that cool stuff, it's still right on the same level as X's combat for me. They're different in their own ways. You know, you don't have the skulls this time around, and the skulls had weapons you could switch out that changed your arts, kind of like you know, 2 has. But I really love the combat. But the biggest reason this is number 2 is, and it just feels so weird saying this, is the story, the voice acting, and the characters. I just fell in love with the characters. I actually love the voice acting, the English voice acting, minus that the one girl in the she's with the bad guys.
Petroka.
Yeah, she's got, that girl is not an actress. She's somebody's kid, daughter, or something. They just here say
That
these
bitch
lines.
is tone deaf as fuck.
Terrible,
bro.
but other than that, I love Nia's voice, Morag, Rex's. You know, he's good when he's talking. It sucks when he's trying to scream. Like the dude needs to go up about 20 octaves with. It's you know, it's just.
He's too manly for that though.
The humor is what really surprised me the most. But I'm on chapter 9, almost. You know, if Terrell said there's 10 chapters, I'm right towards the end, and 110 plus hours. I don't have really any complaints other than some of the side quests are just kind of forgettable. I wish I didn't have to go through them, but I love the affinity chart. Like that's really drawing me back to the game. And you know, the rare blades system. Well, it's frustrating when you do 40 core crystals in a row and you get nothing. But when you get that awesome rare blade, I'm still waiting on. There's only one left that I want that I've seen. Game has almost no loading times, like under 10 seconds. It's just unbelievable. And yeah, so I mean, it's definitely right there. Mario, like I said, this game in Mario was I flip flopped, then I flip flopped with art. Like I just couldn't decide. But the quality of this game, the amount of time I put into it, I don't want to stop playing it. But just my number 2. So before we get into our number 1, we're gonna go back to Terrell. You know, the most overrated or if you have 2, if you have something overrated and disappointing game of 2017. So it's either one or the other or both if you have one. So
you could argue what I have is both, and this may not seem like a big deal for you guys because, well, some of you guys because of the genre, but considering when I started this game, the amount of hype around this game was insane, and it felt like I was like the only person who actually had any problems with the game. And that game is Persona 5. I think about 45 to 50 hours into the game. I don't think it's a bad game. I don't think it's a terrible game by any means. I think it's a really good game. But Jesus Christ, the amount of the game is so relatable. I totally connect with the characters. I feel like I don't
game belong. Of the year. You mean all the people saying it's best game of the year types?
I mean, yeah, like it's like as an RPG, it's like I get it, and I see why. I think it is a really good game. But Jesus Christ, people need to chill out with some of this fuckery about how it's the best RPG ever and all this other dick riding, which ironically enough happened to Persona 4. And nowadays, the people recognize that Persona 4 is a flawed fucking mess too.
I was gonna say that's kind of the Persona way.
Yeah, it's that's the reason why I say it's fucking overrated. It's not. I put it this way: it's not like a 9 out of 10. It's like an 8 out of 10. It's still a good game. I just don't fucking think it's the best thing in the world. Just
All right, Robert. I know you have a disappointing game. Why don't you go ahead and get into it?
You know all those man's secrets, man.
So the most trash game
oh, I know what that is.
is Sonic Forces.
Yeah, I'm not
God
surprised by this
damn.
at all.
What a garbage game, guys.
You beat the game. You actually beat
And
it.
I actually beat the
One
game.
of the few games you beat this year.
Of course, he would beat the trash.
It's because, like, I don't know why, but I felt like I had to finish it. And well, also because it was probably, I mean, incredibly short. And it was just like, God, it's so fucking bad. Like, I genuinely believe, and you know that might not be true, but I think if this shit had Bubsy forces, people would be like, "Ah, it's fucking zero." But because you got the word Sonic in there, you gotta like it a little bit. And like, it's just, I mean, nothing works in this fucking game. It's like it's literally trash. Like, it's literal like it's a shit. It's a shitty shit. And then, like,
It's a shitty shit.
I mean,
It's a
auto
shitty shit game.
fucking auto playing half the
Like,
fucking 3D.
it's crazy. Yeah, like, and it's so like, you know, okay, again, it'd be like the story, dude. Horrible.
I
God,
could listen to this for a half hour. Keep
No,
going.
please
I was
continue.
about to say, everyone's dick is hard all of a
That
sudden.
was
What's going on,
horrible.
man?
And of course, the controls, like, they don't work. Like, there's so many times where you would just, I remember there was one stage where I would fall off, and I'm like, is that really my fault? like, and then I do it again, and I'm like, no. This is the horrible ass controls. It totally is. Or like, for instance, like the momentum, they'd want you to go fast, but then there's like one part where you shouldn't go fast, but then it makes you still go fast, so you fly over this one part, and you're like, what the fuck happened?
That's like half the game,
I'm
sir. That is half
Yeah,
the fucking game.
It's absolute garbage. One of the worst games of all time.
Gee.
I think years from now, even the Sonic fans might look back and be like, "Yeah, that game was trash." Like,
Oh no, it's like I agree. It's like one of the worst. As far as mainline Sonic Team games, it's like one of the worst ones in like recent years. I think the last game that was even comparable to it in terms of quality, overall quality, was like 06. 06 or fucking Rise of Lyric. And although it functions better than those games, it's still fucking offensive because we've had better games with the same gameplay. It's not, you know what? No, it's not happening to me again. Move the fuck on. All right?
anybody else here play Sonic Forces just out of curiosity? No,
No, y'all better taste some weed.
Yeah,
I
this
thought T was gonna buy it.
Well, I was gonna buy it until the people started. Basically, you had these leaked impressions. People started talking smack about it, and it's like, oh no. And then the closer we get, and we got the damn demo, which was, oh my gosh.
Why is it only a minute? Well, because the levels are only 2 minutes.
Exactly. You start the demo and it's already over.
That was the dumbest.
When you add all of that up, all of a sudden those 30 euros start to seem like a lot of money.
Yeah, that.
like,
Oh, it's only a $40 game. Well,
And I will always say, like, it's so funny because you know how every time you finish, normally when you finish a game, there'd be some kind of animation or something. It's so funny when you finish a Sonic level, Sonic runs and he just stops, and then for a second, like it's just nothing, right? And then it says congratulations or whatever.
Oh, you're talking about that pause in between when you hit the goal sign. And,
Yeah,
and
like
then
it's
the
no
so
little
anime,
thing.
like no
like
little
he just
details.
stops there, like no little animation, like he just stops there. It's like that's so weird. Like it's so weird.
It's just a lazy
No.
fucking game.
No,
It is.
Not till after.
Yeah, but I said what he's saying is there's a pause in between that and the results screen.
Yeah, it's just so bizarre. I don't get it. What they did, like they were just like, fuck it, just
They
release
got
it.
people who don't know how to design fucking levels, designing levels. That was the problem.
It's almost like,
I'm so fucking mad all of a sudden.
you know, when Nintendo gave their D team, hey, make New Super Mario Brothers 2 for the 3DS, and it was like a bunch of amateurs made a game. Wasn't terrible, wasn't the worst game ever, but it was so reliant on hidden blocks you'd never find and stuff, and it's just like you can tell
yeah.
when great level designers are involved and when they're not. But let's get to retros because I'm curious, what's the most disappointing / overrated game?
It's both. It is both and the most overrated, and I don't care what somebody else on this podcast said. It is the most overrated. It is the most disappointing. I felt it was close to trash, even though I have 60 hours in it, and that is Splatoon 2. Splatoon 2.
God damn!
I had so much fun with the first Splatoon. I played it to death so much, like a robot, no end, all day, every fucking day. I have so much time in it. And so I was so excited for Splatoon 2. I was like, yes, make this shit evolve, make this go better. And it's like, it's not like they just made the same. It's like they made it a bit worse, you know? It's like the only thing they added to this was this salmon run, which seemed like so much fun. But I can't choose my weapons and I can't play it. It's like, okay, so great. What else do we have? A single player mode that is exactly the same that already wasn't that great in the first one. So we just have the multiplayer mode, which I love, but it brings nothing new. I was like, okay, we're going to get a new Splatoon. Maybe you'll be able to get on ceilings and tunnels or some shit. Like they're going to make this whole game evolve. And now they're basically dropping the same levels from the first game. I already played those levels. It is terrible, and it is not a good sequel.
You can't choose you can't choose your weapons in a horde mode. That's new.
I had a round, when I stopped playing the horde mode, when they gave me like 2 shitty weapons and 2 fucking snipers. What the fuck are you gonna do with 2 snipers when you have those fucking giant saucers coming at you? You can't do anything against that.
Yeah, I mean that's when I stopped playing, but I mean we were having fun, but then
bitches, man.
it's like you got a blaster. It was a blaster.
How you gonna spend 60 hours in the game and call it trash?
I mean, for me, it was fun until it's like, then I realized, like I just got bored with it way quicker than I wanted to. That's the problem that I had with it. I wouldn't say for me, it wasn't overrated because no one was really rating it super high anyway. But let's get T's choice. Disappointing or overrated game you played this year?
I don't usually play trash. I'm pretty good at sniffing it out. This game I just kind of bought on a whim. It wasn't that expensive. It was only $20, but I was expecting it to be, a decent RPG. It was super, super disappointing. Me and OJ don't like this game, and it's called Has Been Heroes. And it, like he said, he had the best explanation for the game. It just does not respect my time. RPGs are about leveling up and getting better. And you level up in this game, and if you die, you lose all your progress, which completely defeats the purpose of an RPG. And it's just the stupidest thing to me. I know a lot of people like these types of games. I'm not.
It's like an arcade game, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not for me. It's like when those platformers that are just super hard just for the sake of being hard.
Mm-hmm.
So just add that with like an RPG, and it's just like this is stupid. This doesn't go together to me.
That's why I didn't like it. Dead Rising was just like that.
Yeah.
You'd play it, it was a one time, and then you'd start over from scratch. And I'm like, what the fuck? I tried to save. I thought I saved. I played an hour and I saved it. Nope.
If I paid more than $20 for it, I'd be shitting on it every chance I get. Luckily, it was only $20, so it doesn't hurt that bad. So it's all good.
All right. So I have 2 games. One's I feel is overrated. Another I was disappointed with a purchase. So overrated, not that it's bad. I think it's a good game. But not game of the year, not Colin Moriarty's greatest game ever made type of game.
Colin Moriarty.
Horizon Zero Dawn, good game, totally overrated. Anyone who even suggests that it belongs in the same conversation as Zelda, and I see people saying, well, if they pick Zelda, it's because they haven't played Horizon, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Horizon's gameplay, I can sum it up so easily, so quickly. You go out, you go to either a base or the story mission. You sneak around, you tag the human enemies, and you take them out, and then you fight robotic enemies. You take them out. You can't do anything creative. You can put traps. That doesn't do anything, and it's like a cool idea where you can set these electric traps. It doesn't do anything to they run through that. Maybe they get shocked for a few seconds and they move on. You just pull out your bow, you hide behind something, and you shoot until they freaking die. Or you try to, if you've been spotted. I mean, there is some stealth elements that are can be exciting and stuff, but it's just trial and error. And it's like anyone who thinks that, I mean, they're just intoxicated by the visuals. I mean, that's the only thing I can say. And the sound design's really well done, but story-wise, it was a decent story, but the ending's so freaking. It's just like typical Hollywood movie where they want to set up a sequel rather than end the damn game, And it was no payoff, and it just missed the mark, and it doesn't piss me off, but I just can't believe people can sit there and say that it's better than Zelda, having played both games. It's not even close. So
it's interesting what you said when you said that people who say that you haven't what was it? No, I lost it.
You haven't played Horizon if Zelda's your top game.
Exactly. And because for me, I was already way in Zelda, and I went to my brother because he has the PS4, and I wanted to play the game at his place because I can just play it. And I started playing this, and I keep trying to glide and climb, and even you showed little ledges, you can do it. If you've played Zelda first, you almost cannot play Horizon anymore.
Yeah, it does suck. I mean, if I didn't have Zelda to compare it to, I would have compared it to Rise of the Tomb Raider. And even then, there's so many invisible walls. You should be able to climb this 4-foot thing or at least hang from a ledge. You can't. There's just so much things blocking you, and it's like if you just look at it, yeah, you got all these beautiful visuals and animations and stuff, but when you really get down to the finer details, that's where it's just completely lacking for me. So, and then that video about all the little things about how the water doesn't react, or you shoot an arrow and it's gone, and like nothing reacts to the Aloy character, just all the little details. If they had a little more like attention to all the like some of those little things, it might have added up to creating something. But it really, if you haven't played it, if you've played a Far Cry game, it plays more like Far Cry most of the time. The highlight is when you're taking down like that T-Rex thing by yourself. Like that is a pretty intense battle. Like that stuff is fun, but the majority of the game is a pretty average stealth game. So
when I completely understand, because you guys know I talked about when I was playing Breath of the Wild, I was still playing Witcher 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of stopped playing Witcher 3 when Breath of the Wild came out. Like, it was my only game I was playing for a while, and going back to Witcher 3 was like, ugh, I can't. It's like I can't even jump up this little rock. I'm sliding. It's just what Breath of the Wild brought as far as like interacting with the world and the physics engine was just it just spoiled me. I got spoiled and I couldn't go back, even though obviously Witcher is like a more photorealistically, quote unquote, graphically beautiful game over Zelda. None of that mattered because it's just like the world seemed like a picture. It was I wasn't really interacting with it, so it's just like
yeah. And I mean, it's just like,
and the combat system is nowhere close to
like the melee system in Horizon. It's like I was gonna do a video and I was like, I'm not gonna just rip on this game now. Almost a year later, like literally you hit the R2 and it's like your strong attack, and you got to give yourself about 10 feet from the enemy, and she like lunges and it's like instant kill. And then R1 is like a smaller attack. So all you got to do is like make sure your spacing's right and just hit R2 and dead. And then someone gets close, you just back up. So you got the space right, hit R2, she lunges, boom, that guy's dead. Like it's just, there's nothing, you don't have to think really. It's just, there's no strategy, there's nothing. So, but my most disappointing game, and you could almost say Horizon is, because I had pretty high hopes for the game.
Yeah, we both hyped for it.
I was even worried it was going to be better than Zelda, which is funny to think about now. But out of my purchases, and this one I paid full price minus, my discount from Best Buy, would be Resident Evil 7. Like that's the one game I bought this year that I just wish I hadn't bought. Like, why the hell did I buy that game? It's like a 10-hour crawl fest. Like, it's supposed to be 60 frames per second for the VR, yet they make your character move like you're walking through molasses the entire game until you get outside where it doesn't matter. You just kind of got to get to the next area. Then all of a sudden you can move fast. And it's the first person perspective isn't bad. Like, it doesn't ruin the game, but how sluggish you can move. And just didn't feel like Resident Evil in many ways. Like there's a few little things here that did. And it's one of those, it was creepy the first time, but the next time I play it, it's just going to be annoying because then I'm going to be annoyed by how slow I move. And that's the reason I'm dying, is because I can't move fast enough to get away. And it was just a forgettable experience. The boss fights were okay, I guess. But it's just pretty much a forgettable game. And it's like, go back to Resident Evil 4 with a little more survival in it, I would be happy. It could work in first person. I just don't know why they called this game Resident Evil. It just shouldn't have been called Resident Evil. So those are my two. And now it's time. And this is gonna be the shortest podcast ever if we don't do anything after. But my number one game of the year is obviously Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like it's so funny because you can say that my Nintendo fanhood, my love of Zelda, I was calling this my game of the year at this time last year. Like I just knew it was gonna be. There was just no doubt. And it's like, did that cloud my judgment? No, I played this game, and it was back to Ocarina of Time for the first time, Mario 64 for the first time, Super Nintendo for the first time. We're talking about Aloy and Horizon can't jump over like a 3-foot high fence because it's an invisible wall. And Witcher 3, you can't. I remember Witcher 2, you couldn't even walk down a stair it didn't want you to walk down if it's not the path it wanted you to go on. There are no invisible walls in this game. You literally can go anywhere inside, the boundaries of Hyrule. Like if you are like a crumbling building or something and there's an opening, you can climb up to it, stand on it, and jump through it. Like there's no place you can't go, and it all works. Like I really don't have any negatives. I would say my highlight is just the exploration, the seeing something, going to it, and it's just fun. The combat system is one of the best. It's the best in a Zelda easily, but it's one of the best in that type of game, period. I mean, you look at games like Assassin's Creed and like even Horizon, the melee stuff I'm talking about more than the bow. And it's just like it took it to a whole new level of depth. And I saw someone saying how basic it is and how they're falling asleep doing the combat. I'm like, well, you ain't trying any kind of experimentation. Forces you to use different weapons. I love the breakable system because it made me use weapons I would have never used if I just got the Master Sword and that was it,
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm learning that different weapons work better against different enemies, and the elemental weapons, like it's just the temperature where, oh, it's cold here. Well, I got a fire sword. I can put that on my back to stay warm. It's just like, man, it's just so good in every way. The story, best story in the Zelda game. I love the art style is my favorite almost all time for any game. And music, everything. And it's just amazing that this was a Wii U game, and it doesn't look that much different on the Wii U, really. So easily my number one. I mean, I almost thought about doing a top 6 just because it's really just, I mean, other than Terrell and T, I think most of us have it at number 1. Probably should have had a 6th game on there just to make it the best 5 games other than Zelda. So So, with that being said, what's your number 1? It's not Zelda.
My number 1?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man.
I know.
My number 1, you obviously should know, is Super Mario Odyssey. I don't know if we're going to talk about why. We're going to do that now or
Go
later.
ahead.
But like I said, I went back and forth with Zelda and Mario Odyssey. And I think overall, I picked Odyssey because the Switch for me in 2017 harkened back to my excitement and all that from my favorite console of all time, which is the N64. And so there's all these nostalgic experiences I was having on the Switch, and where I love Zelda and what it did different, I love Mario for what it didn't do different. Like it felt again like it wasn't exactly obviously like Mario 64 for the first time, but it felt like I was continuing that journey that I had Mario 64 for the first time since that game. Obviously other games like Galaxy and whatnot were close, but those were more linear than Mario 64. And Ocarina of Time, look at me. Odyssey was easily it just felt like easily the closest thing to that game. And with the Switch, like I said, making me feel like I was playing N64 again, I had to pick like that game that made me like a super N64 fan, and that was Mario 64. So, and that's why I chose Odyssey, because it just like I legit was in tears. Like no other game did that to me this year outside of Odyssey. When I was running through the festival in New Donk, like I was legit like, because it hit, not only did it hit like N64 era, but it hit like early childhood stuff with like, because Donkey Kong was like the first game I remember playing as a kid. My uncle took me to the arcade and he kind of lifted me up, and it was like the first game I just made that do. And then you have that sound in the musical score of Jump Up Superstar. Like I was in tears, like literally. And the game just touched me more. So that's why it's my number one.
And I will say, Legend of Zelda, I teared up a few times with cutscenes, with reading people's journals.
Yeah.
When Kass played his final little song telling you about his teacher, like that shit hit me way more than, I mean, that moment in Mario was cool, but it didn't touch, any kind of heartstrings or anything. It was just a cool moment for me. But Retro Death, what's your favorite game of the year?
I like it though, because with what T said, Super Mario Odyssey officially, between the 5 of us, has every single spot in the top 5. Everybody had it on a different spot.
Wow.
But for me, come on, it's very easy. It's also going to be Breath of the Wild, because it is not just one of the greatest games this year. It took my second favorite Zelda spot of all time, even with my complaints about the lack of dungeons, which I still feel it did everything right. Just we've talked about everything already in this podcast. The physics engine, the fact that everything can happen in this game, where after 200 plus hours you still discover new things that can happen, that it does. So like, what other game does that? Like the locations, the art style, the grass. I will never stop talking about the grass in this game. It is just gorgeous. And like I said before, the music, like Hateno Village and Hyrule Castle itself is probably in the top 3, if not number 1, the greatest level I've ever played in a game. I loved going. I felt like a kid going through a haunted house or something. That shit was amazing, and I'm still getting time. I'm like 220 hours in or something. I'm still getting time out of it. I just started touching the DLC. Like, it is just so much fun, and I can never stop seeing enough of it. Like the shrines, I could have had 1,000 more of those. They're my favorite thing in video gaming almost ever. It is so relaxing, and the puzzles, and I'll just give the turn to somebody else because I'll never stop talking about this game.
I love that
it's number 1.
I love that the shrines are short form, because while there are some really good dungeons in the Zelda games, I think some of them linger on a little too long, and I just like that short form puzzle.
Like which one?
Twilight Princess, when you're climbing on the ceiling with the steel boots.
I can't dispute Twilight Princess.
But to me, the short form little puzzles, because I like puzzles like in games like that. The old Tomb Raiders had them. Some games throughout the years have had little puzzle stuff. Like Uncharted tries to have puzzles, but I just love the little separate little puzzles in each one of those. Now, if you strung like 10 shrines together and had to go through all that, I might have had a different opinion, but I like just the short nature of them. And then I'm getting back to, that was their intention though, so you could get back to exploring the world. That's why they made them shorter instead of having super long dungeons in a recent interview. So once they said that, I was like, that makes total sense, because I was wondering why they had just a bunch of shorter shrines than dungeons. Well, they wanted you to be able to get back to exploring the world they created. So Robert, what's your number 1? Sonic Forces?
Honestly, it might be. No, definitely the number 1 game is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Holy crap, what has not been said about this game? I mean, obviously, like, it was mind-blowing how just interactive this world was, right? How this whole world felt interactive, and how lively it felt, and just I love this damn game. Everything about it, I have no real problems with it at all. I don't think I can say a problem with it. I think I love every single second of it. And there's even now, you got the DLC that I still got to get through that part. And so it's like, it's just crazy because it feels like it's never ending. Every time I turn on, I still feel like there's one little thing that you find out that you see like, oh, that was cool. Like you always, you know what I mean? Like,
you see something on Twitter. Just recently, recently in the last month or so, saw that someone threw a boomerang and caught it with the magnesis and used it like
it was like a saw.
I was like, are you kidding me? And then I'm watching this how to farm dragon's horns, because that's how you make the best dishes with, like, I don't know if they're elixirs or dishes. They give you the full benefits plus a 30-minute duration. And this dude like set up camp under this little overhang, so if it started raining, he created a fire. He slept till the morning, and then he relit the fire, used it to launch with the sailcloth, to get up, and then he quickly did the slow motion shot with his bow, hits the horn of the dragon. He watches it fall. He goes back to the campfire, sits till morning. He does that like 10 times in a row. And then when it's all said and done, he just walks over and they're all piled up. They're glowing, all 10 of them. Like, how did he figure that out? And it's like, it's just so cool that it lets you do that. They don't disappear. And, just one technique for farming dragon horns where I would do it the way harder way than he was doing. It's just the things people can find and create in that game. I kind of went down a rabbit hole of watching tutorials on different things, and it's just like, holy crap, like these guys are on a whole nother level. They're finding, like, the meta game is ridiculous. Like, there's so many different meta games in this game, and getting through the shrines without doing what you're supposed to, like using stasis to hit an item to go flying, over. And I think Rob or somebody shared that on Twitter recently, and it was like, are you kidding me? Like, it's just on the creativity that allows the gamer, I think, is what. And if you have no creativity, maybe that's why someone didn't have it as their top, If someone just plays it straight and doesn't even try anything creative, like, I'm just going to kill this guy the easiest way, and like, you're missing out. So
damn, I just realized, like, all my top 5 are Switch games. Such a fanboy.
I could have made mine all Switch games, but
and I have every system and a PC.
So Terrell, why don't you tell us your favorite waifu game of the year?
Man, let me have a conversation with y'all real quick. All right, listen. If y'all don't know about that Xenoblade Chronicles 2, y'all don't know. Y'all need to get up on that because y'all are missing out. Let me, because it tripped me out. It tripped me out. My favorite game of 2017 has only been out for like a month. Oh my God. Considering that toward the closer we got to this game's release, the more I was afraid of the battle system, because God, that shit looked complicated and it looked so fucking intimidating. And now I don't want to play another fucking Xenoblade game without this shit. This shit is so fucking good. I love the characters, just the representation of all my. Because what I hate in stories, and a lot of, especially in game stories, they'll introduce a character, and then the character gets a little part in the beginning, and you never hear or see anything of the motherfuckers again until like towards the end of the game. I love how this game, story-wise, addresses every character and lets them have their moment in the light to shine. I love that the game has these small little things, like I can warp travel whenever the fuck I want. It has the cool town building system where shit gets cheaper and I can kind of like upgrade the town. So I feel like I'm adding back into the economy. I love the fact that the battle system has like 7, 8, 9, 10 fucking layers to it. Not even talk about the fucking rare blades. The fact that they all have different elements and they have different weapon types and they all have different statuses where some of them are healers, some of them are tanks, some of them are attackers. This game is one of those fucking games that, like, after I stopped playing it and I start playing other games, I still want to go back and play. I want to play it now. That is how ridiculous this shit is. I beat the game like almost 2 weeks ago, and I want to play the game again. I want to keep playing the game. It's such a
Why don't you tell us what you really like about the game, though?
Oh no, I listen.
Get into the real stuff here.
Listen. Waifus are cool and all, but it's not just the design of the blades that trip me out, because you got some badass guys in here.
The size of them.
No, Robert, it's you. I don't know what you do when the lights are off and you're thinking about which one you want to impregnate. Irrelevant. The point I'm making is that they are very attractive, and I appreciate the fact that they had different artists work on each of these designs, because it makes every rare blade look unique and special. I love the fact that all those rare blades get their own little heart-to-hearts and cutscenes and shit. They all have their own little stories, so you get to flesh out their person. I don't want to talk about it anymore because I want to go play the game.
I was like, actually, because you said it, I was surprised that I finally got a blade that I really like, that something that fits my style as a gamer. And I had randomly pulled her, and I'm going into this village, and all of a sudden this cutscene starts, animated cutscene with voices, and I was like, holy shit, if they did that for every blade, the amount of detail in this game is crazy.
Every rare blade.
Yeah, every rare blade has it. And it's
but some of the side quests after those cutscenes turns into some tedious backtracking fetch quest.
Yeah, I'll say like
but
the worst thing about the game, the two worst things is the performance issues it has and the side quests. The side quests are pretty. Even I'm skipping the dialogue of some of these really minor side quests. That's how bored. That's how throwaway out. And it's not like they're terrible stories. It's just kind of like there's so many other things I want to do in the game. I want to raise my fucking my town status in each of the fucking areas because I want all that shit at 5 stars. I gotta go find Pyra's favorite drink so I can get these bonuses in the affinity chart. The affinity chart is obsessive. Tiger as a mini game is addictive as shit, and this shit has no right to be because all it is some fucking NES 8-bit bullshit, which might be the reason why it's appealing in the first place. I don't know. That old school game. And then these bastards had the balls to put a DLC out. I don't need this shit. I already got like 100 hours in the game just from the story. I'm gonna chill out. I'm done.
I will say right now, it's hard. It seems like I get a new favorite all the time, but Pandoria is like my staple favorite. But then that Cora I just got, she's pretty awesome. I love the design, red hair, the colorful outfits and stuff. It's like they're not just all, like you said, they're all designed by different people. So there are some really weird ones that just don't fit in the game. I don't think it just don't feel like they belong in that game world, but there are some really cool ones, and yeah, so it's hard to pick a favorite. But if you had to pick, Terrell, can you pick one?
When you talking about my favorite Rare Blade, is that just plot important?
Just anyone that's technically a Rare Blade.
Fuck. Probably, I have one that I really like because she's fucking adorable, but she ironically is not a titty flops character. She's it's Electra.
That's mine, bitch.
Oh my god!
I don't know her.
She's like a little girl with like lightning powers
With a giant fucking hammer.
Oh,
have you seen her?
Yeah,
Have you seen her little cutscenes yet, Retro?
Yeah, that's why I started. That's why I mentioned it earlier. That is the one that started this whole quest for me, like animated and everything.
Shit, it's so cute.
It's amazing.
It's great.
She's like little as in like a child or just
Yeah,
short?
like a child.
Okay. So you're not.
Child got like little afro pigtails and this cute ass hammer, and she got like the little fang that they do in anime, which just adds onto the man.
Yeah.
You need to protect that girl's smile. All my that girl's smile needs to be protected by like thousands of guys on the planet. It's ridiculous. Yeah, she's like one of my favorites. If I had to pick like a story related one, I've really grown to like Poppy a lot. I don't know what it is. All of her forms because I'm biased.
Especially
And
her third form.
well, obviously, but see, I'm biased and I like all 3 forms. Also, because they all fucking their idol animations are dancing. They're all doing these ridiculous dances, and she shit talks Tora so much. I fucking love
There's
it.
some
I love
good
her
humor
so
there.
much.
The third form does a little more adult type dancing than the first form. So
Man, because she's a bad. Oh, I don't know. Did you like the cutscene when you first get her, and she's like, and Tora's like, "Show me your power," and all she does is pick him up, and he's like, Don't you fucking put me down, bitch. I love the humor in this game too. No, I gotta stop, man. It tripped me out. This game just came out like a month ago.
And I mean, I haven't done I'm not getting that distracted, and I haven't beat it with over 100 hours. So, I mean, you probably could get through it at like 80 or 90, but I don't know. You have to spend some time getting your field skills up for some things so that you can get past some areas, I think.
Right.
So you got to do a little bit of affinity chart leveling up and stuff, so you can't just rush through. I don't think you'd probably be like that GameSpot reviewer and say, "Oh, I had to go back and grind for 3 hours because I got to a point where I couldn't go any further." I'm like, it's because you weren't playing the game, really.
Ooh.
But anyway, good 27 was a great year. I mean, the year before I had to make new rules up so I could have a top 5. I had to put a 2015 game on my 2016 game of the year list. Otherwise, I barely even had a 5. I think the 2 or 3 was legit. The other 2 were just like, they would have been maybe not even honorable mentions in the year like this. So great year for gaming. We all, had a bunch of different games on here. So some surprising, some not. And it's just the Switch is definitely the highlight. But you know, I did have a PS4 game on my top 5, so I would have never thought that with all the great games this year. So I don't know what it's. You guys want to just wrap this up? I guess we'll do some final thoughts.
I'll put a condom on this bitch. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really want to get into like hot topic stuff. So I say we just do some quick final thoughts and get out of here and leave this one the way it is, just all about 2017, our favorite games and stuff. So let's start with Terrell.
2017 was a good ass year, man. And it wasn't even just good for just Nintendo fans.
Oh wait, I got something I forgot.
How dare you?
Is there a game?
Shut 'em down.
Part of your final thought. Is there a game you didn't play this year that you wanted to? So answer that and then give your final thoughts.
Well, I'm going to play it this year because I have it. I just need to fucking take it out of its plastic. That's Nier. Nier's been fucking looking me in my eyes like, I thought you like Platinum Games, bitch. What you doing? Pick up the fucking controller. I'm like, fine, I'll get the.
Aren't her
goddamn
eyes
game.
like closed, like it's covered?
No, well, yeah, it's covered, and I'm surprised you didn't bring her up, Robert, because every picture I see of her is her with a fat ass, and I'm like, oh, I'm surprised Robert hasn't brought this character up.
She doesn't blow up like Lola Pop.
Man, get the I'm fucking.
You don't even play as Lil Pop, so shut the hell up.
Yeah, I don't understand. What's
Never
the
even
essential?
played as
I
her.
like to look from afar. I don't like to.
Nasty.
Anyway,
Bitch.
Wow.
Continue, Terrell.
Wow.
But 2017 was a good year for gamers, I think, for the most part. I mean, we had some fuckery go on, but I think, well, at least for Nintendo and Sony and PC
Yeah,
gamers,
Microsoft didn't have a whole lot.
Hey, listen. I was trying to be positive. Chill out.
Halo Wars 2, bitch.
That was a
Lucky's
game that
Tale,
came
bitch.
out.
Super Lucky's Tale. Game
Hey,
Cuphead.
chill out. That was a PC game first, sir.
Cuphead.
All right,
Well,
well,
Cuphead was.
okay, fine. We'll give him Cuphead. No, give him Cuphead at school.
No,
It's so
I
funny
don't
to see
get-
like
I don't get
Microsoft
it. It's on
gamers.
PC.
It's on PC, but ain't the point, Robert. Give them something. They ain't got none right now.
No.
So funny to see
Right.
Xbox gamers and Microsoft gamers like take crap on Nintendo. Oh, I like that colorful platformer stuff, and they just Cuphead.
Best art
Frauds.
style. One's fucking best art style,
Frauds.
art direction or whatever at the Game Awards, and get all these Xbox guys. Oh, it's a great game.
You know the funny thing
I don't like
is
Nintendo games, but that
the argument there should be
Life.
how the fuck is it when art style? That art style was done like 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it
was
looks
watching
cool.
the art style.
It looks cool in motion, but I mean, I guess that no one else had really done that. So I mean, Epic Mickey had a little bit of that at some of the like in between.
Kind of, yeah.
You know, they definitely did something no one else had done, and it's cool. You know, game
I
can do
have
that.
to disagree with that because not a lot of people know that on the Super Nintendo there was a Mickey Mouse game, I think, that was based off the 30s or 40s Mickey Mouse, one of the first cartoons, and it looked and animated and played the same way, but a lot of people don't know that.
Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, Steamboat Willie. Steamboat Mickey.
Anyways,
Yeah.
back to my final thoughts. This is great.
Fuck your final thoughts.
It's good. Listen, good 2017. I'm super happy that a lot of gamers got to enjoy a lot of different games, no matter what platform you played on. Because even though Xbox didn't have exclusives, you still had games to play on Xbox. You know, it's just that you could play them on other platforms. I don't really want to get into direct shit because we don't know
No,
anything,
no.
and I don't really want to have that conversation.
I said that there's no grains of salt needed.
So
for-
at this point, then you know what else I'm gonna say? Every game that we mention on this fucking podcast in a positive light, you need to go play. If you haven't played it, play it. We got some time. We don't know anything right now. Go play some games. And with that, life's a game. Play to win. And we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
All right, Robert. Game you wish you had played in 2017 came out in 2017. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, or you got nothing?
Right, shit.
All them games he played for less than an hour.
So
Okay, well-
let's tailor it for you. Like, what's a game you wish you had put more time in 2017?
Definitely Xenoblade though. Like I'll say,
Oh,
if I'll
yeah.
say anything, definitely yes, mighty, definitely Xenoblade, because I really enjoyed X, and I never beat that, but I played 40 hours of it. And
Oh my god, you're not helping yourself here.
I wonder how many games you have started that you haven't beat in your short life. I bet it's more than my entire lifetime.
You sure look like he's about to die or some shit.
Yeah, Grandpa T. Yeah,
Half my
juice.
age, and I bet my list is shorter. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Wow.
but what I'll say is that, and also another game that I want to play also is a South Park. I really like the Stick of Truth a lot, and I just never played Fractured But Whole.
Did you beat?
Yeah, I did, and it's actually like one of my favorite RPGs. Take that, Terrell.
Man, there ain't no fucking RPG.
That's because it's kids baby's first RPG. That's
I'm
what.
about to say Pokemon's more of an RPG than South Park. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't care. It's fun as fuck. And
South Park, so.
And yeah, it's obviously South Park's hilarious. So the whole thing is that definitely Xenoblade and probably like South Park.
And 2017 was a good year for you.
And 2017 was just amazing in general. I loved the whole year in terms of everything that went around 2017. I loved it. It was fantastic. And
E3 tournament.
Yep. I mean, like it still blows my mind.
The Switch event. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like stuff that only I dreamed about. I actually did in 2017, and it blows my mind. And I love 2017. It was fantastic. It was an amazing year. Like I said, greatest year of my life. And I don't know if 2018 will be able to top it, but I hope it does because that would be cool. Yeah. Have a wonderful day and maybe a good 2018 if you can try.
Why are you doing this shit, Robert? Just stop.
You have a perfect place to end it. They just mess it all up.
All right, retro. A 2017 game you wish you had played, and then just final thoughts.
The game I wish I would have put any time in is because I'm just salty that I chose Splatoon 2 over ARMS. I wish I bought ARMS. I wish I put more time into that. So I'm still going to get it this year and play it, but I'm pretty disappointed that I didn't play it like apart from the test punch at all this year, because I think in the long run I would have had more fun with that game.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that if I mean you can talk me and Terrell into playing anytime if you get it. I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
So that's where it excels.
Because I had a lot of fun with the test fire, but I was so excited for Splatoon 2, and if I had known all of this beforehand, like I said, I would have. I still like it. I still enjoy Splatoon 2, but I think I would have had a lot more fun with ARMS. So yeah, definitely that. As for final word, final thoughts, like I said before, anybody, please go check out Hollow Knight if it comes out on the Switch. Check it out. It is such an amazing game, and I hope that 2018 will, like we had the discussion here and there, I hope it will beat 2017. I hope it's going to be amazing, but personally for me, Dark fucking Siders 3 is going to come out. So I think my game of the year for this year is already being set in stone. So I can't wait for that game.
All right. Meza T, is there a game you wish you had played in 2017?
There's a bunch. Miss Fire Emblem Warriors.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to play Horizon, just never got around to it because the Switch was on in my life. No, what's the game? You just mentioned it. It was one of your favorites. Gravity Rush 2. I wanted to play that. So I'll get around to them.
They shut down. They shut down the little online aspect for gaining things to like get upgrades and stuff in the game.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't really care. I just want to kind of just play the game.
I think you'll still be able to get through it fine, but it does kind of suck. There were some cool features.
Oh yeah, well,
we could like
puts a damper on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just like, hey, there's we can gain some Dusty points by someone took a photo in this spot. If you can find that spot, there's a treasure chest there, and then you can take a picture and send it out for other people to see, and it was a really cool thing.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna play those games this year because there's nothing coming out on PS4 this year that I care about. So
whoa!
I'll have
what? God of War?
Motherfuckers on the other side of the goddamn planet. Whoa!
Death Stranding, God of War.
Yeah,
come on.
Spooderman
ain't gonna make it this year. God of War. I never cared about God of War, and I care even less now with the style that it's in. So, yeah.
Detroit.
Oh, Detroit. That's one. That's it. But yeah, Switch was amazing for me this past year. Like I said earlier, and felt that way about a console as far as the feels I got from it since the N64, which is for me great company. So I'm looking forward to it. Maybe even one day trumping my my favorite console of all time. Hope that's a thing. So, yeah, like I always say, play Nintendo, fools. It's going to be a great year, I think.
All right. So games I wish I had played. Not so much like, God, I just really wanted to play it, never got a chance. But games I would probably enjoy: Fire Emblem Warriors, Nier Automata, or Automata, however people want to pronounce it. That one looks cool. I like the demo, and that might be something I play this year. Other than that, like I pretty much played all the ones I really wanted to. Maybe some indie games I was excited about, and then they come out, and I kind of just forgot about them. Like if Hollow Knight had come out this year, I may not have even picked it up with all the games I was playing at the end of this year. So maybe it's better it comes out.
SteamWorld Dig 2, that was one.
Oh yeah, that's a great game. So, but final thoughts, just again, great year, great to be a Nintendo fan again, and the Switch is that the Wii kind of was a great system, but it kind of tapered off for me, and then the Wii U really reinvigorated me with Nintendo's core franchises and just getting back to gaming and single player games. And the Switch is already kind of has all that plus some great online games, so it's like got the best of both worlds. Because really the last system before the Wii U kind of reinvigorated me, that got me just super excited, was the launch of the N64. Now towards the end it tapered off because I turned 21 and I kind of got a little distracted, and
women.
It was pretty much after GoldenEye. there was I played almost nothing after GoldenEye. I think about Perfect Dark and never even finished it. So it was just, for me, like that first couple years was amazing, and the Switch is feeling like that. And I got my PC. If new Tomb Raider comes out in 2018, I'll be ready for it if it's not on the Switch. So, but yeah, it's just been great. And Retro, I know it's been a little over a year, I think, since you joined the podcast, if I'm remembering. You were definitely in the January prediction podcast, or shortly after, if I recall.
So that early already?
I think so. But anyways, been great having you on, even though it's nice to have somebody on that I completely disagree with every once in a while.
Like all the time.
A lot of the time. We tend to disagree on a lot of.
Well, it's no fun to just have a circle jerk. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes we want a jerk circle. What?
But I like that you have different tastes, but you're still a Nintendo fan. You're not like some Sony dick rider and Sony pony or something.
Sony ponies.
Like, this is a Nintendo podcast first and foremost. It's pretty obvious if you don't know that by now. So, but yeah, thanks to everybody for tuning in.
One person who doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't know.
It's been a great year, and hopefully everybody got a chance. I know some people still don't have the Switch yet that were Wii U fans. So, and hopefully you guys get one in 2018. But you got some games to catch up on because there's so many good games. So it was nice to actually have to choose which 5 make my top 5 and not just the only 5 like last year. So, but yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Who knows what we'll have to talk about? Maybe there'll be something major to talk about, or maybe that won't happen. So we'll find out. But until then, everybody have a good time or good night, and we'll see you next week.